Hey, welcome to Lock and Load. It's Monday. Got all kinds of interesting news and some holiday spirit coming up with some giveaway updates, a contest, kind of an announcement. Not the official video yet, but just what's coming up really soon. So let's check it out. Where are we going to start? Let's start out with some news that people might be interested in. If I could get the right screen share up. When you got so many pages open, that looks like the right page. All right. It's been a very interesting week. Obviously, we'll start out with the news of the day. Uh, Italia, the prime minister there is going to resign because he lost his constitutional reform, quote unquote, reform initiative. Basically, whereby if he had won, the yes vote had won, which it didn't, it lost. If the yes vote had won, he would basically, as the leader of the government, whoever wins the election gets to appoint like an extra 300 parliamentarians, who would vote for, whatever the winner told them to vote for, instead of just people actually being able to elect their own representatives. And that lost. And the reason they wanted to do that is because of that's the only way he could figure out, because since nobody in a democracy always agrees on everything, surprise, surprise, um, they need to fix their banking system. And speaking of things that need to be fixed, let's go to some stuff with some news from Zero Hedge. So the people said, nah, they didn't vote for the Empire and Darth Vader. They voted for the Ewoks and the Jedi to run things and to stay completely. The way Italy's government has been described is anarchy tempered by bureaucracy. So let me hit the screen share button again and see if I could actually hit what I'm aiming at. There it is. Start screen share. All right, let's see what else is happening. First defection. Republican elector writes in New York Times op-ed why he won't be voting for Trump. Republican member of the Electoral College, whose name I'm not going to even say, has published an op-ed in the New York Times explaining on Monday that he will not be casting his vote for Donald Trump. If he follows through on this promise, next month he would become the first faithless elector since 2004. Banana Republic in the making. The glue of reason in India is flaking. As we mentioned before on last week's chat, Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, basically called in 86% of the currencies, and long lines developed. People would wait, all day in a banking line just to get to exchange $30 worth of Indian currency. So the maximum you can exchange is 2,000 rupiah, and so for those rupees, you have to wait all day, and some people died waiting. And they're banning. Well, basically, people are smuggling in gold into India, and all the old 500 and 1,000 rupiah notes are no longer good. So it's a quote. Here's some. This website is Zero Hedge. It gets it's not one of those. There's a lot of Russian TV stuff out there on the internet that I don't really like watching, because that's okay. America has their propaganda, Russia has their propaganda, but I kind of like people who try and figure out what actually is going on. So I kind of check Zero Hedge quite a bit, and as with all your sources on the internet, use your own judgment as to what is accurate and what is not. Pizza, speaking of which, appropriately, Pizzagate arrest. Friends in Britain did something on that on a chat a couple weeks back. Police released criminal complaint against Comet restaurant shooter. police released the criminal complaint filed against Edgar Welch, who discharged an assault rifle at the Comet Ping Pong Pizza restaurant, in which he admitted that he was motivated by the numerous online reports about a suspected child trafficking ring allegedly run by top Democrats, including Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman, John Podesta. Right. Some things I prefer to leave to the courts to figure out, and where they do have rules of evidence. And in my opinion, just having a bunch of online articles about it, it takes, that's not admissible evidence in court. But anyway, did the U.S.-led coalition give coordinates of Russian Aleppo hospital to Al Qaeda for a missile attack? Who knows? Is the gold correction over? Okay, so here's some news on Sharia law that everybody might like if you're into gold and silver, collecting coins, and just building up a stash for fun, and just in case the market goes crazy for that, which is doing the opposite of right now. It's been going down for quite a few days, but in the Arab world, the Sharia law is the Islamic law. They're rewriting it, so they're reinterpreting it, not rewriting it. They're reinterpreting the part where they're the Islamic faithful are not allowed to trade in things that are measured and weighed, and basically because I'm not going to try and interpret the Quran. I don't know it well enough. But what the long and short of it is, bottom line, as we say, is they are creating an Islamic approved exchange traded gold and silver fund that it will actually be backed by actual physical metals, and it's not just paper trading of things that aren't real, or paper contracts, but actual physical gold exchange traded fund, which would be how this affects us is that it opens up some very, very rich, basically a lot of money from the Arabia, the Arab world, and the Islamic world will now be able to be invested in physical gold and silver metals that before it was, whereas before this kind of fund could not be traded. I mean, on the like for example the Abu Dhabi, or which is like the old money kind of a stock market place in the United Arab Emirates. I think there's 7 Emirates in the United Arab Emirates, but I may be mistaken. And in Doha and in Qatar, and in Saudi Arabia. So all these, there's quite a few very rich people there who can now, invest in actual physical metals. Who, if they have been following, the Sharia law before, because that's their faith. Well, now they can still actually invest in gold and as an investment, and there's a lot of, oil money obviously sitting out there that may like to diversify into something like that for whatever reason. Now they can, whereas, so you're talking about, 1.5 billion people who can, and including some very rich billionaires, from the petro kingdoms out there. So that might have an impact, but let's see what else is happening. At least being reported on Zero Hedge. Got a lot of stuff. This is pretty funny. Mark Carney defends the Bank of England. Quote, "We are not robbing the poor to pay the rich," unquote. Yeah, so, quote, "Has monetary policy robbed savers to pay borrowers? Has the MPC been Robin Hood in reverse? In a word, no," said Bank of England Governor Mark Carney, which was surprising because in a study earlier this year, the BIS found that monetary policy has done exactly that. So that's just funny. What typo resulted in a $7 billion corporate welfare to Texas? I didn't read that one. Okay, here's something for all the gun channel people. A GOP congressman to introduce national concealed carry bill after Trump's sworn in. The bill, known as the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act of 2017, will allow a person with a concealed carry permit in one state to carry handgun in any other state that permits residents to conceal carry, as long as the person is not banned from possessing or transporting a firearm under federal law. All right. Um, and okay, let me switch to this article. For my friends in England, you may or may not know about this law that passed. This is an article published on Zero Hedge by Tyler Durden from November 26th. Last week, in troubling development for privacy advocates everywhere, we reported that the UK has passed a snooper charter effectively ending all online privacy. Was there any online privacy? Now the mainstream media has caught on and appears to be displeased. Well, I mean, shit, who wouldn't? Anybody on the internet, which is pretty much everybody, should be displeased. As AP writes today, after months of wrangling, Parliament has passed a contentious new snooping law that gives authorities from police to state to spies to food regulators, fire officials, and tax inspectors powers to look at the internet browsing records of everyone in the country. For those of you who missed the original reports, here's the new law in a nutshell. It requires telecom companies to keep records of all users' web activity for a year, creating databases of personal information that the firms worry could be vulnerable to leaks and hackers. Civil liberties groups say the law establishes mass surveillance of British citizens following innocent internet users from office to the living room and the bedroom. They are right. Snowden blasted the law. Well, who cares about him? None other than Tim Berners-Lee, the man credited with inventing the World Wide Web, tweeted news of the law's passage with the words "dark, dark days." Right. So it's called the Investigatory Powers Bill, which is, I guess, nicknamed the Snoopers Charter by critics. It was passed by the UK Parliament this month after more than a year of debate.
Here.
Yo, who's that out there? Somebody came on and said something, and I wasn't paying attention. True Jordan Cage, whoever that was. Hello and goodbye. I'm going to get back to my news, important news of the day. But yeah, if anybody wants to jump in, the link is in the video description. If you have something to add, got a bunch of stuff to go over, a bunch of pictures from Arizona to share. And let me get back on this story. So, anyway, I thought my friends in Britain would be interested in this Snoopers Law, the Investigatory Powers Bill. Huh. Coming at a time when the mainstream media is lashing out at non-traditional website, which it brands with either the derogatory alt-right or simply slams as Russian propaganda. And I got to say, there is Russian propaganda out there, but, just anybody that disagrees with you is not necessarily working for Putin or the state of Russia. Anyway, so the investigatory powers bills. The bottom of this is pretty interesting. Look at all the government agencies that have access to the history of any British citizen, courtesy of Chris Yeo, who I'm sure I pronounced his name wrong, has compiled the lists. The Metropolitan Police Force, the City of London Police Forces maintained under Section 2 of the Police Act 1996. I don't even know what that is. Police Service of Scotland, Police Service of North Ireland, British Transport Police, Ministry of Defence Police, Royal Navy Police, Royal Military Police, Royal Air Force Police, Secret Service, the Security Service, Secret Intelligence Service, GCHQ. I have no idea what that is. Ministry of Defense, Department of Health, Home Office, Ministry of Justice, National Crime Agency, HM, Geez, the list is fucking endless. Department of Transport, HM Customs, Revenue and Customs, Department for Work and Pensions. They got to spy on you too. National Health Service Trusts and Foundation Trusts in England that provide ambulance services. The ambulance company is spying on you. Common Services Agency for the Scottish Health. Gee, I thought the only problem in Britain is that they didn't let you have guns. Shit. These are all the people who can, access your internet browsing history. Competition and Markets Authority, Criminal Cases Review Commission, Department of Communities in Northern Ireland, Department for the Economy in Northern Ireland, Department of Justice in Northern Ireland, Financial Conduct Authority. Why don't they just make a list of people that can't spy on you? That would be shorter and easier to read than all this stuff. The Food Standards of Scotland can spy on you. The Gambling Commission, the Gang Masters and Labor Abuse Authority, Health and Safety Executive. Yeah, basically pretty much everyone can spy on you legally. Welsh Ambulance Services and National Health Service Trust. Scottish Ambulance Service Board can spy on you. Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission can spy on you. Office for Police Ombudsman for Northern Ireland. Yeah, really, anybody that can't spy on you, I don't know. They need to make a list of who can't spy on you because this is ridiculous. All right. That was an interesting one. I had to bring that up because I do have friends in Britain, so in the UK. So let's see. All right. Where is my button over here? So yeah, I have no idea which direction gold and silver is going. It's been going down lately, but next year, basically on the 30, basically at the end of the year, this when the Islamic Sharia law will change and the exchange traded funds will be available to the Muslim world, and it will be they're specifically setting up Islamic approved funds that are compliant with the Sharia law, and so that's what about 1.5 billion the faithful will be to that religion will be trading if they so desire. So that, and since it'll all be backed has to be backed according to Islamic law by actual physical metals and not paper contracts, that should have a large impact, but we'll see. Right, let's stop this screen share and see what else we got. All right, the family made a trip to Arizona. Welcome to the Palace restaurant and saloon, pleasing Arizona's toughest customers since 1877. Right. There's a gentleman in this saloon, and I think this is near, I forgot where it is, but you can see it in a minute. Arizona's most historic restaurant and saloon, lunch, dinner. So this is a saloon in Arizona. They've got a drink called a Peacemaker. Whiskey Row Sour. Peacemaker, homemade sweet and sour, 7-Up and grenadine. Old-fashioned bitters and sugar. Yeah, I have some of those, and I've been, but I got the bitters for champagne cocktails, not for. I guess I need to improve my bartending capabilities. HistoricPalace.com. You can check it out there. There's an Arizona state flag. There's my dad. There's some A1 steak sauce and a mannequin for what I guess used to be hookers back in the day. I didn't know A1 made beer, but I know they made steak sauce, but Pilsner. All right. There's just a view of, I don't know who any of these people are. It's for the bar. This used to be a mining town. There's some mining tools, and people would trade, mining claims over the bar, for drinks and or debts and stuff like that, or money. So historical mining collection. There are several mines here. Bath, 25 cents. All right, there's the picture of the bar. This is in Arizona again. And here's a gentleman who's at the bar, uh, or at a table by the bar. And as you can see, he's packing heat because it's legal to do so in Arizona. God bless. It's one of the free states in America. Uh, the man who runs Gun Channels is from Arizona. So, one of the unique Second Amendment platform sites on the interwebs. All right. I thought that was interesting. And he's kind of there in costume every day because he likes it. And he can because it's a free country. All right. Let's see what else is going on and see if there's any comments out there on YouTube. So I'm going to be organizing a giveaway because, I was coming out of the store and there was Salvation Army bell ringer, and I put in, I don't know, 20 whatever bucks in his red kettle, and it made me feel good to help somebody I didn't know. And so, in that same spirit, you know, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I've got some tactical socks, and I'm going to do a video because we have the Pearl Harbor 75th anniversary coming up, and this is Hawaii, and it's a big day for the world, not just Hawaii. When Pearl Harbor was attacked by Japan, it threw the United States directly into the war, and obviously in Hawaii, it was a big thing, and it had good and bad consequences. I've been watching. I'm trying to do too many things at once on here. So hang on. So, but I am doing a giveaway, and basically how it's going to work is I'm going to be asking everybody, like probably on December 7th, I'll post the video, actual giveaway video, and I'll be asking everybody to just name 2 YouTube channels that you like with under 500 subscribers, so smaller channels, and just do a shout out video, say why you like them, and and then I'll probably have a title like hashtag whatever, and so I could find them all and PM me your video, and then that'll get you an entry, and it's going to be a nice giveaway, a tactical holiday Christmas sock with more knife, some magnesium bars, and a bunch of Gun Channels patches, and a few patches that I've collected, and just kind of prepper stuff, nothing too crazy expensive, just enough stuff to be, I think, helpful in a prepping and just fun kind of a way. And the thing about it is, not only will the person who wins it be getting, something cool, and I'll be doing something for somebody that I don't basically know, but every channel that gets a shout out will be helped, because I'm going to have like a list of all the videos, so I'm going to put a list together there. And I got this idea because this is exactly what she still does the chats on, I think, full 30 or something like that. And it's on Gun Channels on Wednesday. Called, her YouTube channel is still there, Fate of Destiny, and she did exactly that. And I know when I was starting out, that helped me, because it was, when you have a smaller channel, it's just it helped everybody out. And I met some very interesting people. Doing that, I met Northwest Prepper 411, who was on the chat, I think, last week or the week before, and Hefe. Hefe likes he does beer reviews and guns, so I thought that was a powerful combination. And he had fun doing it. And Northwest Prepper was an ex-military guy who's just a common sense, down to earth prepping, and a few range videos with some guns. And he was off for when he moved from, I think, Montana to Oregon, and then I think he had a medical thing with an appendix, and just basically life got busy, and so he was off of YouTube for a year or two. But he came back recently, so I need to actually post his channel on my YouTube page on the recommended list or something like that. It was on there for years, but that when he stopped just doing anything, I took it off. But now that he's back, I got to put it back on, and it's just been a busy week. Um, so, getting to that. So that's going to be fun. I've been collecting all kinds of cool stuff. An out the front knife / lighter combo, just a bunch of cool stuff to throw into a technical Christmas stocking and send off to somebody. So stay tuned for that. I think I'll do it on Pearl Harbor. Let me find my Pearl Harbor Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade that they're having on. I got a link for that website. I know I saved it, but that doesn't necessarily do me any good. Oh yeah, this was a funny little thing. So the Newsweek editor makes major admission about the leaked Madam President issue. Basically he admitted that the guy who edits Newsweek. I mean, it's nobody reads magazines anymore. Everything's on the internet, right? So, they printed this up just in case she won. Here it is. Yep, the Madam President issue. He didn't read the article at all. He admitted that before. He didn't read it, that he just paid for it to be done just in case she won. And of course she didn't. Newsweek editor is now admitting that nobody on the magazine staff actually proofread an article released ahead of November 8th election, presuming Hillary Clinton's presidential victory while bashing Donald Trump supporters. According to the Newsweek political editor Matt Cooper, the magazine outsourced its commemorative election issue to a subcontractor. So many newspapers and magazines often do for special events or occasions. This subcontractor was hired to produce an article and cover in case Hillary Clinton won the presidency, and another in case Donald Trump won. So they had two magazines they could go with. Because it was widely assumed Clinton would win the election, Newsweek printed about 125,000 issues before election days with the words Madam President on the cover. But somehow, even after the election was called for Donald Trump, more Clinton issues were leaked. The leaked issues were immediately recalled, but by that time the damage was done. Aside from this problem, the written piece itself would have been published had Clinton won the election, was stunningly biased. It's Soviet in devotion. Its devotion to Hillary Clinton. Fox News Tucker Carlson said. Cooper agreed, calling the words in the article embarrassing. The article read, quote, as the tone of the election grew darker and more bizarre, every day President-elect Hillary Clinton went high when her opponent went even lower. Jesus. No stranger to trudging through the mire of misogyny in her career as First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State, President-elect Clinton continued to push for an issues-based campaign, even as a handful of Trump's most deplorable supporters, who the hell wrote this, seeing the wide margin Clinton held among female voters, called to repeal the 19th Amendment. On election day, Americans across the country roundly rejected that kind of fear and hate-based conservatism peddled by Donald Trump. The election and elected the first woman in history to the president. Okay, fuck this shit. Where's my Pearl Harbor link? I swear, Newsweek. There's a reason why nobody reads magazines anymore. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna take a look at YouTube really quick, see if anybody is saying anything. I'm sorry, I can't do everything at once. There's just too many flipping windows open. All right, Joseph Goober. If not a troll, but if shit hits the fan, what the hell am I going to do with gold and silver? Give it to me. I'll think of something. Well, when basically the concept is when the economy comes back up, silver, well, it will be, and gold will be a strategic metal. Are you aware? Well, pray for a werewolf apocalypse and cast some silver bullets. Gold would make some very good fishing lures. Well, if these are strategic metals, and I think the idea is based on what happened in India. If there's a cashless society, and the world looks to be headed towards, the banks controlling everything and all the cash being demonetized, then the only thing you can what else are you going to have that is money that you can trade and buy things with, that the government can't monitor you, can't tax you. I mean, they're going to almost demand you turn in your gold and silver too. But just look at India and see what's happening there. Um, there's a 15% duty to import gold or silver into India, and all they demonetized 80%, 6% of their currency. So it's not the only thing, it's not like I don't have guns and ammo and food and, water purification and all kinds of other preps. But, a small satchel of precious metals, I count that among my more important preps. But hey, you don't have to. If you think it's fun to collect that shit and you can afford it, it's not a bad idea. But don't listen to me for financial advice because, like I said before on previous occasions, if I had $1 for every mistake I've made in my life, I would be a billionaire. So let me get back to trying to sort out my bookmarks. I go through the week and I try and find interesting bookmarks to talk about if I run across something. One of my favorite websites. Right. Let me screen share this one. I think you guys will like it. I think time left until Obama leaves office 45 days, 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 20 seconds. So this is a pretty good one. Last time I checked, the Colts are destroying the Jets on a Monday Night Football. So you aren't missing anything by hanging around here. If you're interested in hopping in, so who's leaking stuff? Guru, I'm checking out the gun channels. This is also broadcast on gun channels. In gunchannels.com is a basically Second Amendment platform run by a veteran in Arizona who joined the military after he saw Red Dawn and realized he wanted to fight for America. And by the way, I was in a post office this week picking up a gold double eagle. Well, there's two eagles on the tail side of the coin, so I call it a double eagle. Most people call them gold eagles, but anyway, there was a soldier in uniform from the Army, and I just, after I picked up my package, walked over to him, shook his hand, said, "Thank you for fighting for America." And he seemed happy that he said, "Thank me for thanking him," and I, said, "Go with God," and, then, it was just nice to be able to thank somebody who's fighting for the country and fighting for all the freedoms we have here. So, Glock Guru over on the gunchannels.com/HVS side says, if you don't have food and guns, you can't do anything with gold and silver, but history shows that precious metals have been the only real valued form of currency, not paper and not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been doing well. There is a join link. I'll recopy that on the Gun Channel side, and it's on the YouTube side. It's in the video description. Let's see. Copy. Paste. All right. So I see a bunch of people out there over on Gun Channels. Hello to everybody. Jesus. So Zero Hedge is a pretty interesting website. If anybody's interested, you should check that out. You let's see what other bookmarks I marked this week. What else have I got coming up? I got a couple of flashlights I need to review. I ordered a bunch of patches from Gun Channels today. That's going to be part of the giveaway. So I don't know how long it takes to get it here, but for that to get here from Arizona. But so we'll have a bunch of patches to give away on the contest. Let's see. All right. What is this one? Palmetto. I try not to just go to the typical. Oh, let's go to this one. This is interesting. See what's happening on this. Oh, Duran is one of those Russian websites. Never mind. My bookmarks are incredibly disorganized. Here's the one I was looking for, the UK Defense Journal. Somebody was saying that, I mean, I know they're sending it's supposed to send 300 tanks. The UK is supposed to send 300 tanks to Estonia, but on another chat, somebody who lives in the UK said that only of all their tanks, I'll link that really quick. If I can find the right thing, here it is. Of all these tanks, the British Challenger tanks heading to Britain, they only have 47 that are actually functional. So if they send 100 tanks, half of them won't work, and there won't be any left in Britain. And the British population doesn't have guns, so I hope nobody invades Britain instead of the Baltics, because their tanks won't have any tanks. So anyway, let's see what's new in the British. I think I talked about the rocket artillery last week. New tanker, RFA Titerace, unveiled in South Korea. Right. So, Trump took a call from president of Taiwan, the democratically elected part of China, that I guess Shanghai Shek when they separated from the communists, that pissed off mainland China now that Trump took a phone call. But I don't think the president of the United States needs approval from, anybody in Red China to take a phone call. Okay. I saw this one on the news on Fox. Another Russian jet on their carrier crashed into it overshot the carrier and crashed into the ocean. So the whole thing about carriers is it's not whether or not you have a carrier and some jets. It's how long have you been operating carrier task forces, and do you actually know what the fuck you're doing? Obviously landing in the ocean is kind of a sign that you may not be you may look cool to have a carrier and jet, but if you can't land on it because it's hard to do, it's a hard thing to do, then it's it's not ready. They're not ready for prime time players. It's just that you really can't fuck with the Russian carriers because of all the nuclear weapons they have. And if somebody sunk that carrier, then Russia might launch a nuke at whoever they thought might have been responsible. So anyway, be nice if they could actually land on their own fucking carrier and crash into the ocean. I mean, I hate to see anybody get killed because they overshot that, but I'm sure that's a video that's not going to be published on Russian television or the Duran. But the first one, I think a couple weeks ago, they lost a jet trying to launch off of a carrier, and this one time they overshot it and they lost a jet trying to land on a carrier. So look at all the ways you can screw up. Carrier operations is the most, and task force is the most complicated, I think, naval dance. And it takes years of tradition and officer corps to learn to keep something like that running. Anyway, okay, we got our British defense shit in there. If anybody wants to hop in and add to the conversation, hey, the links are out there on gunchannels.com/HVS, and it's free to join Gun Channels, by the way, if you're interested. You can kick back and listen to a bunch of chats that are always happening, or you could join in the chats or start your own. And there's a lot of firearms knowledge out there and Second Amendment activism. And also, there's a link for the YouTube side out in the video description. You just need to have the Google Hangout add-on, which takes about 10 seconds to download. If you click on the link, it'll probably direct you to the place to do that automatically. So 10 seconds and you're in. You need to have a mic though. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Not too much. I got some packages. I got a Blade HQ. I got a new knife. I got a Tops um, a 1095 steel Ranger bootlegger. It is pretty interesting that this is the first knife that I ever got that had like a elastic leg band and a tie down, so you could just basically put it on your or on your calf, your ankle, or outside of your pants, and just have a leg knife. Because most of the stuff I have is either a, a fixed blade or a folder that it's like mounts on your belt. So this was interesting. It's a very interesting knife. I'm looking forward to getting a little experience working with it. And I bought it for its coolness factor. Anyway, let's see. I don't know if anything else is really going on around here. It's snowing. Yeah, it is snowing on the top of all the mountains all over Hawaii. The telescopes on Mauna Loa or Mauna Kea are covered in snow, and I think the mountain passes are closed. And I don't know if it's. I think it's Pakaloa is probably the military base up there is probably still open because it's you probably need to go up about 1,000 feet over where the base is before it starts snowing. And it doesn't usually snow in Hawaii, but definitely has been raining down here on the coast, and so I imagine it's snowing up there in the mountains. And there's some pictures that I've seen that it is. I'm gonna check YouTube really quick. Do silver try to mold them. Well, I've seen silver bullets. I mean, just collecting. I mean, a lot of most every, any of the big silver online sites that sell silver will sell, silver bullets. I mean, I don't mean ones that you can shoot, but I mean just, kind of something that's molded that looks like a bullet and it's made out of silver. Well, I'm sure we'll find something to do with gold if it, if there is a panic into it. But right now, it's been going down and not up, so it's more like a buying opportunity. Um, if it, hey, it's if you're not patient, don't bother, and you don't have to. I'm not advising anybody to do anything except have fun, and you know that's why I do my YouTube channel, because it's fun. Anyway, I'm going to see what's happening on the gun channel side for, if anything. I see, let's see, Joseph Cooper, Dano, Dusty One, and Gavin out there. Thanks for stopping by and checking in. Any topics that anybody wants me to cover, say something and I will. See, Zero Hedge. What are my other websites that I look at? Oh, yeah, the power went out a couple days ago. And on the first world only problems that messed up the hot tub in the condominium. So I went out there today to soak my sore foot, and the hot tub was cool because the heater motor was screwed up. So I had to throw some hot water in the bathtub and soak my foot in there. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of patches. Basically my orders. Did an order from SKD, and let's see, shotgun shell pouch, high speed dual taco mag for my P mags for my Tavor, and what else? A bunch of some tactical cushioned socks and a bunch of other stuff. I can't even remember everything that I got. It was I did an order like during the early watch for Jimmy James, and I think I did it a few was built some cart full of orders, and did it on I don't know, it was like 3 days. It was like the Thursday right before Black Friday, so all that stuff came in pretty quick, and the post office was so busy, I guess from the Black Friday they decided to actually deliver people stuff on Sunday. So I actually got my Black Friday sales this Sunday, um, at least one of them, and then the other one came today. Actually, during the early show, there was a door ring on the doorbell, and the post office that never actually walks up the stairs to deliver to get a signature, makes me go to the post office to pick stuff up. Actually walked up the stairs this time and delivered my Blade HQ order. So let's see. Gizmondo. Apple's excuse. Pizza Gators aren't giving this shit up. Gizmodo. This is an interesting website. I don't know if this counts as a Russian website or news or just, I don't know, some random, but this is pretty interesting. Gizmodo. This is an interesting picture. Pizza Gators aren't giving this shit up. Apple's excuse for random iPhone shutdown sounds weird, but okay. Trump just met with Al Gore to discuss climate change. Okay. And what the hell is that? Transformers? Now that's a movie I've never even seen, but everybody keeps talking about. Right, so I guess Star Wars Rogue movie is coming out, and some people are upset that it's not technically a real Star Wars from the trilogy, and it's an offshoot, thing. But whatever. As long as it's fun, I'll buy some popcorn. I missed the last Star Wars movie, so I actually don't know what the hell it was about. But I'll try and catch this one. On Monday, the House of Representatives passed a bill that requires the Secretary of the Treasury to issue a special commemorative coin for the 50th anniversary of the 1969 Apollo moon landing. The bill, H.R. 2726, demands the Treasury Department creates a variety of convex coins to more closely resemble the visor of the. So basically, this is in case for people who don't believe that the moon landings actually happened, they're going to print coins to prove that it does. Well, you get to buy some silver coins, and if it turns out that the moon landings never happened, they'll probably be worth a lot of money. Anyway, who knows? All right. Video sploid. I don't even know what a sploid is. That's how literal Bohemian Rhapsody lyrics used in a goofy short. Wow. Russia's unreliable aircraft carrier just lost another plane. It's not the aircraft carrier that isn't reliant if the pilot overshoots it. It's the pilot. Jesus. It snowed in Montreal today. Snowplow takes out cop car. That's just funny. Smash. I guess this is just a loop of a cop car getting smashed by a snowplow. For people who don't like cop cars or getting tickets, I wonder what he got. Yeah, anyway, smash. Well, that's a good thing about living in Hawaii. Unless you're up on the mountain, you don't have to deal with snowplows. All right. Wow. So looks like nobody's jumping on this week. Let's see. I don't think I've. What else? What else haven't I covered in the show yet that I'm so supposed to? Oh, finally, the Palmetto State order has shipped. I like on. I think Moon Food on uh, Black Friday found the 20 AK mags for $6.99 each, and they were so backed up, Palmetto State Armory, that it only shipped today. So I don't know how long it'll take to get here, but yeah, blemished AK magazines. Those are the Croatian steel magazines, 20 for $6.99 each. So I came to back about $138 for 20 of them, and they had the bolt hold open followers. Not that I really need bolt hold open followers on an AK, but whatever. It'll be nice when it gets here to have an extra 20 steel Croatian AK mags. I'll load them up and throw them in my magazine pouch. Add them to the list. They'll probably be better than the Tapcos that I have. Uh, the cheap ones. I mean, I have some Tapcos. Some I like the 40 round Bulgarian ones that I have a lot that are polymer. And but everybody likes steel AK mags, even though they're only the 30 rounders. 30 rounds is a lot on semi-auto, but you definitely run out. so more magazines is good. But it only shipped today, so I guess they were just buried with orders from Black Friday. So I think Palmetto State Armory is based out of South Carolina. So I just got the shipping thing a little while ago. So that's an update to anybody from who does the morning show on gun channels and or watches it, early watch. And let's see what else is going on. All righty. Well, if you don't know how to, Joseph Goober, if you don't know what to do with gold and silver, wait till it goes up in value and then sell it, or trade it for something that you need. That's generally what you do with it. You can do that at a pawn shop, at a gold or coin shop, anywhere in the town that you live in, or you can hold on to it and wait. Let's see. What do tactical socks look like? Oh wait, Dano did his first ever reloads today. um, Dano loaded some 9mm. Huh? Okay. I'm not. I don't think I was going to do a video on my tactical socks, but fuck, I can. I mean, they're a special kind of wool. Do I have the wool pack in here? No, all I can find is my Glock. The hell good is that when I'm looking for the thing that came with the tactical socks? Socks and Glocks. Drop your socks and grab your Glocks. Okay, well, on that note, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because there hasn't been too much news. Just check out my giveaway. I'm gonna be trying to load it on Pearl Harbor. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. 1 second. Where the hell is the PMP? I know I loaded the damn thing, but I bet I put it under Hawaii, the Hawaii bookmarks. Yeah, when you have like 10 billion bookmarks, it takes forever to just remember where you put your bookmarks that you wanted to share on the weekly show. Wow, the Jets scored a touchdown. Oh my God. Just listening to the Monday Night Football in the other room. So you can get all the updates. Come on. I got to go scroll back up to the top of my bookmark page. It takes like 2 minutes. All right, here it is. Let's see. Hawaii. There it is. PHMP. That's the website I wanted to share before I wrap this up. PearlHarborParade.org. Yeah. This is a cool one. Because, as you can see, the ocean just kind of rolls in. 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Join us for this historic occasion. Yeah, they're having a memorial parade. And you can just, the waves roll in, just like from that movie, From Here to Eternity. And one of the patches I got from Expedition was the Grim Reaper, because I met the Grim Reaper this year, and I had to send him home with an empty sack. I mean, he'll be back maybe 30 or 40 years from now, but or 50 years or something like that. But so one day I think I'll talk about that some more. But it's Pearl Harbor was one of those days that changed the universe as that we of man as we know it on this planet. There was a show I was watching. The History Channel had Pearl Harbor: The Truth on last night, and it was just about how in Washington they had the magic intercepts that were, but nothing was forwarded to Admiral Kimmel in the Pacific. And after Pearl Harbor, they needed a fall guy, and so he was in command, and so he was it, and because basically FDR, didn't want the country to lose faith in the president right at the beginning of World War II. Because if it wasn't Kimmel's fault, then it was FDR's fault or the people in Washington's fault. And basically, the magic intercepts were intelligence intercepts that allowed them to read break the code and read the Japanese communications to their embassy. Now, the militarists of Tokyo did not tell the diplomats everything, but there was enough there for them to know that there was an attack coming, intercepts that said, what do they have any torpedo netting up at Pearl Harbor? What are the exact locations, of the ships in Pearl Harbor, and draw us a map with a grid for Pearl Harbor and what's the depth, So basically there was enough there that they should have known. And but the admiral in Washington didn't forward anything to the admiral in Hawaii, so there was no way that Kimmel could have known. And I mean, if Kimmel could have known, would have known, then they could have fought off that attack quite well with if all the anti-aircraft defenses were manned and the U.S. Army had its own airplanes, air fighters cover up over the harbor. They could have fought off the torpedo planes. Not to mention if they put up torpedo netting around Battleship Row, then to stop the torpedoes. But there are also dive bombers too. So anyway, it was there was they had up some pictures of the actual some video from the congressional hearing where after the war wherein Congress cleared Admiral Kimmel, but they Congress didn't have the power to restore him as a 4-star admiral after it was basically FDR at that point didn't want people to lose faith in the country and the people that were running it, that they were completely incompetent for letting this happen in the first place. But and quite a few thousand Americans died, half of them on the Arizona. But anyway, Hawaii is a beautiful, peaceful place now. I saw an article or a news report that the Japanese Prime Minister is actually going to visit Pearl Harbor. This is the first time ever that a sitting Japanese Prime Minister is going to visit Pearl Harbor. And I know Obama visited Hiroshima and apologized, but really, there's a great movie that I liked called The Purple Heart with Dana Andrews. Basically, what happened was when American air crews were crashed over Japan or were shot down, then the crews were put on show trials and then executed, sentenced to death for bombing Japan. So then there was a good movie called The Purple Heart, and you can see that on YouTube. Dana Andrews did a great job as the captain of one of the air crews. It was a World War II kind of propaganda-ish movie, but it was well done. So as far as the bombing Japan, let's just say we're all glad the fucking war is over. But let's hope we can avoid any more stupid wars. I don't need the value of my gold or silver to go up that bad. So, I mean, which if there's a war, it will go up. I promise you that. It'll go parabolic. But, it's not like I'm rooting for one. I have no control over these things. But anyway, I thought this website that was look a peaceful, homepage for it, the Memorial Parade on December 7th. Right now it is the 5th, so 2 days, 48 hours. It'll be the date, the 75th anniversary of the date that will live in infamy. And quite a few people died during that attack, and it's a big day for Hawaii. They'll be interviewing veterans all day, and there's getting very hard to find any veterans who are still alive who were at Pearl Harbor. But if there is anybody there, I think they had last year was, I don't know if they said they don't know if anybody's going to be around for this year. So they made quite a big deal over last year's anniversary. But wow, 75 years. Time just flies right by you, I tell you. And Timefly has flown up for this chat. I'm just going to check the comments one more time before I close it out. So this website is www.pearlharborparade.org. So if you have a chance, check that out. It's one of those. Yeah, well, are you aware? Yeah, the government knew the attack was coming, but basically the problem was it wasn't it. It was just the way the intelligence was set up to work from the magic intercepts. It was one Navy admiral, one intelligence officer, and everything had to go through this one Navy admiral. And if he didn't distribute the information, then nobody else knew about it. So when you say the government knew the attack was coming, yes, but it was like the intelligence was set up is a system set up like it was designed to fail. you know, at least that was the gist of the Pearl Harbor, the truth. And basically, a show that was on last night, and basically Admiral Kimmel got railroaded. If the intelligence people either could not or would not, share with the admiral in charge of the Pacific Command here in Hawaii, then he doesn't have ESP. If they don't tell him, he won't know. I mean, they have the intercepts, to the Japanese embassy, and they could decode them with the magic, decoder. It's what was called magic, and it's one of those just the government, sets up things for its own, interdepartmental reasons, like so and so can, they wanted only a limited number. What they were afraid of is that the Japanese would find out that they could decode their transmissions to their embassy, and then they would change their code. So they kept the number of people that knew about the intercepts to 10 or less, so that the Japanese wouldn't find out that they could decode with the magic code breaking system. That they could read their messages. It didn't do any good because nobody told Admiral Kimmel, or he didn't read the Hilo newspaper that you're talking about. Obviously, putting in the Hilo newspaper wouldn't help him because he was on Oahu. So it could be front page of the Hilo newspaper. Japan will attack, and I wouldn't know about it because I mean, if they had the internet, I might know about it. But printing it on the front of the Hilo newspaper wouldn't do any good back then because he was on Oahu, and that's hell and gone. The Big Island is hell and gone from Oahu. We're quite a ways south of. That's where I am. I'm on the Big Island. I wouldn't even know in Kona what the Hilo newspaper printed if I didn't look it up on the internet, and I usually don't. Well, unless it was on the front page of the Star Advertiser in Oahu, he wouldn't know about it. Truly. I mean, each island, is, especially the Big Island is like, I mean, unless you're going to tell me it was on the front of the Star Advertiser in Honolulu, then how would he know? The bottom line is somebody needed to send him the intercepts, and that person was, I think, Admiral. Okay, the name eludes me. I'm sorry. It was late. Pearl Harbor, the Truth was on the History Channel late last night, and I forgot the name of the top Navy admiral in Washington. When General Marshall heard about it, he forwarded it to everybody, and he in the Army, because that's what he was in charge of. But he asked the person in Washington, "Do you want me to alert Admiral Kimmel?" And the guy in Washington said, "No, you don't need to tell him." I mean, they just put up military. Well, yeah. What military bases do you think are on the Big Island? I mean, we have almost nothing, even now on the Big Island. There's one artillery training area that they didn't have back then. I mean, Admiral Kimmel was not on the Big Island. Admiral Kimmel was on Oahu, and I don't know what military bases you think are on the Big Island, but there's just one artillery range, and there's an airstrip now, but it's not a very big one. And back then, I mean, only just recently when they built the Daniel K. Inouye highway over Mauna Kea, it used to be just a dirt road from the coast to the military base, just until, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago or something. I mean, it used to be a really pothole, crappy dirt road up to the base. You know, um, Moana will be there. Are you talking about the? I think I'm getting a showing something of myself. Something of a. I'm doing endless. Let me get back to the parade. It, this is what happens when you have a billion pages open. Let's see if this helps. It's an ancient computer. Sorry, guys. Let me go back and see what you guys are typing before I wrap this. Here's the gun channel side. Here's the yeah. Look at the YouTube side. Moana. So San Antonio Life. We say Moana will be there. You mean at the Pearl Harbor Parade? For the 75th anniversary in 2 days. Well, we may have had a base on Maui, but it couldn't have been very big. I mean, I know the base we have here is like nothing. Okay, San Antonio, you can call yourself the Spurs, even though I'm a Lakers guy myself. I think the Lakers lost to the Spurs recently, but I think two of their Lakers' best players are out with injuries. So, but Spurs they got George Popovich, so he's a great coach. Yeah, well, I mean, just remember these islands are very, separate. They each have their own governments, and they're quite a ways geographically apart. One thing that was interesting was the whole thing that I think was in Tora 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 is like after the attack, he gets the notice delivered by a Japanese courier on bicycle. That actually happened because they tried to send a radio warning to Admiral Kimmel, but there was a problem with the radios because of the weather, I guess. And so they had to send a telegram through Western Union because the radio wouldn't transmit correctly to Hawaii that day. So by the time, it went to from Washington to San Francisco to wherever else in California it went before it actually got sent to Hawaii somehow. And then basically it was delivered by a Japanese guy on a bicycle to the base that that they expected an attack, on Hawaii from, is from Japan, that day. So by the time they got there, it was 8 hours after the attack. So, oh yeah, if they had known, well, gun placements. It's the anti-aircraft. If they would have just had the Navy alerted, they could have shot down. And the Army. I mean, they could have put up a fighter umbrella and an anti-aircraft, a withering anti-aircraft fire from all the ships. But basically, everyone was asleep and nobody was expecting anything. And by the times the torpedoes were in the water and the bombs were on their way down, people were still waking up and trying to. I think there was one interview from a survivor he put down, he sat down, just got his plate of food for breakfast, got a cup of coffee, sat down in the mess, and then boom, the magazine exploded in the Arizona. So it was that kind of a day, when just everything goes wrong. And we can blame Washington, but or the government, if it was, how things are in Washington, they wanted only 10 people to know about it because they were afraid for security of their magic intercepts getting out back to Japan, that they had it, and never minding the more important overriding factor that the U.S. naval base was vulnerable, which back then they didn't even think that Japanese, it was just racism. They didn't think the Japanese were capable of accurately or being competent. I mean, whenever you underestimate your enemy, you're vulnerable. So it's something nobody should ever do in regular everyday life or in between nations, is underestimate your enemy. Because and back then there was, and when the war started, it even got worse, obviously, with the Americans, and the Japanese, uh, making racist characters of the other side, for propaganda reasons. And so anyway, the best thing about that damn war is that it's fucking over. And So anyway, on that peaceful note, I will say I will try and figure out exactly what kind of wool those tacticals, they're like cushioned socks, are made out of. I know it began with an M in the first word ahead of the wool, but I got them from SKD, so you could just go on the SKD website and look at them. They were on sale, and good socks. Well, I think they're important because you need your feet. Anyway, you need your Glocks and you need your socks and other things that rhyme with it. So, well, they had time to move three new. Well, I think they were out to see drilling, and according to that show last night, they said that the carriers, like the Enterprise, was supposed to be back in Pearl Harbor on December 7th, but there was some weather that prevented it from actually returning. Um, you know, out in the Pacific, the weather can change rather quickly, and so I buy that. The Enterprise would have been in Pearl, except it. Well, the main thing is that Admiral Nagumo. The most important thing about the attack was that Nagumo didn't destroy the dry docks and the oil storage facilities, because if he had done that, there would have been no way to get fix the Yorktown after the Battle of the Coral Sea if the dry docks were gone, and there would have been not enough oil to send out carriers and airplanes to fight at the Battle of Midway. So they were really lucky that Nagumo withdrew the third wave of attack, and just settled for sinking some battleships. Um, so, but that's history. We can't change it. We can try and learn from it and move forward, and try and do the right things. But the world has changed so dramatically, and obviously, the Japanese are now our allies, which is probably a very, very good thing. And hopefully, I just pray for our next president of these United States that he can somehow do all the right things and get America through a very tough time, diplomatically, militarily, economically, because he's got his workload cut out for him. God bless America. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and uh, uh, think of two YouTube channels that are under 500 subscribers that you think are good, and get ready to do a shout out video. I'm going to put the giveaway video up, I think, on December 7th. And thank you all again for tuning in. And you guys all rock. I've seen, a lot of my subscribers have just fucking awesome channels that are even better than mine. So, or the people have lots of knowledge, and, you know, thank you. See you guys next week. Y'all be safe and do practice random acts of kindness. And if you see one of those bell ringers for the Salvation Army, throw in a few bucks. It's not because just the people that you're helping, it's because you'll feel good yourself when you help them. It's good for your heart and soul. Anyway, Hawaii Volcano Squad, I am gone.